the cultural bias against females. It was a short 10 days, but things I learned and experienced were many. We visited numerous shrines and temples. We got to experience traditional Japan this way. Harajuku caught my attention as we immersed ourselves in Japanese culture. Harajuku is the center for Japanese youth and fashion, so it had a very modern feel to it. There were stores and stands aesthetically arranged throughout the area, and they all blended together in my head with the same feeling. Homestay is also an event that changed my views greatly. My host mom was especially sensitive to my religious practices and had made a special area for me to pray in. During the stay with my host family, I got to try a yukata and got to do purikura with my host sister. It was such a warm environment, and I didn't want to leave. But through all of this, I was able to experience the culture of Japan much better.
In 8th grade during the spring, I went to Japan with about 8 of the students from my class. Specifically, we went to Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. In Kyoto, we saw a lot of temples and shrines from Buddhism and Shintoism, the main two religions in Japan. Many of you may know Shintoism was the native religion of Japan, but then Buddhism came over from China. However, instead of either of them specifically dominating, they actually coexisted, which doesn't usually happen. So as a result, many of the shrines and temples you can see will often have similar seeming architecture and themes. Besides this, we also went to a collection of thousands of torii gates made into a path. These gates were all donated by some Japanese company or family.
Going to Japan was a completely surreal experience. Getting used to the cultural disparities was difficult at first. There were exotic foods, vibrant urban landscapes, the people were generally very polite, and there wasn't a lot of English to be seen. It also rained quite heavily some days. I remember asking a high school student from Tokyo how much it rained. She said, constantly. Once I settled in and got over my jet lag, I developed some routine habits. Buying candy at the convenience store every morning, watching children's cartoons at night, and taking pictures of vending machines. I wanted to capture this phenomena because it was so different from anything I'd seen in the US. The vending machines were outdoors and they sold lots of items from fruit juice to hot meals. Overall, visiting Japan was an experience I will always remember, and I hope to duplicate this experience in the future. Thank you.
I went to Japan this summer and it was an incredible experience. I went with my Japanese teacher and 7 of my classmates, and we visited many beautiful temples and castles and saw a lot of beautiful scenery. The bamboo forests in Kyoto were definitely one of my favorites. I was able to stay with 2 different host families, one in Osaka and one in Izumo, and everyone was incredibly welcoming as they cooked me meals and showed me around their cities. We stayed at Kasugaoka High School for a few days, where we got to participate in cultural activities like tea ceremonies and calligraphy, and other students taught us martial arts like Aikido and Naginata. Going to Japan was a really great experience, and I liked to return soon.